Welcome to the IPP Demonstration Sites Team's Inclusionary Practice Spotlight on Culturally Responsive Pedagogy. I am Monique Worthy, and I am an inclusion specialist at the Herring Center, and I will be walking you through a brief overview of culturally responsive pedagogy and a case study from one of our IPP demonstration sites. Culturally responsive pedagogy helps create environments, curriculum, and instructional methods that validate and reflect the diversity, identities, and experiences of all students. It also sends the message that educators value all students and that multiculturalism is an asset. This strategy is a student centered approach to highlight and strengthen cultural differences in the means to improve and support academic achievement. Culturally responsive pedagogy is a tool used to identify, respect, and foster cultural individualism to ensure that all students are given equitable opportunities and are encouraged to share those differences with others. Why is responsive pedagogy so important? The strategy supports instructors in supporting students. By recognizing cultural references in all aspects of learning, keeps students engaged while enriching classroom experiences. In addition, it assists instructors in addressing cultural differences that may hinder academic success due to lack of understanding. This ensures that students are allotted equitable opportunities and are receiving the education that they rightfully deserve. Although we discuss this strategy in a way that addresses academic need, it also presents the opportunity to create community and family partnerships while increasing cultural understanding amongst students, teachers, and families. There are numerous positive outcomes that culturally responsive pedagogy can produce. For example, it increases awareness and cultural individuality. By acknowledging these differences, students feel encouraged to express those differences and engaging in creative ways. Culturally responsive pedagogy strengthens communities by addressing differences and gaining understanding from your community, which promotes long lasting relationships that influence collaboration and helps avoid cultural misinterpretation. We want our students and families to feel seen and acknowledged. This inclusive practice discovers cultural differences and encourages celebration of those differences. This type of recognition increases confidence in students that further brings forth talents and abilities that may have been concealed due to apprehension from lack of cultural understanding and expression. Although the main goal may be to increase supports for students to ensure efficacy in curricular implementation, but it is also important to remember that this aspect affects all that are involved in the scholastic environment. This includes students, families, and instructors. In students, culturally responsive pedagogy is a tool used to embolden students to highlight their cultural differences that will encourage the exploration of other cultures, traditions, and beliefs. We are focusing on increasing confidence and self value to strengthen students not only academically, but in their own cultural capital. We are also ensuring that the learning experiences that our students are engaging in are relevant to their everyday lives and experiences. We want them to know that they are heard and seen, and the events that may affect them culturally are not overlooked or disregarded. Overall, we are encouraging students to be the best versions of themselves despite their differences or contrasting experiences. Culturally responsive pedagogy means reaching all students academically, emotionally, and socially, their full selves. When we validate who our students are and where they come from in terms of their community and personal perspectives, we are creating a space where students feel safe and are welcome to learn. Cultural responsive pedagogy deems an ample amount of self reflection. As instructors, it is important that you assess your own culture and address any barriers that may hinder your support in addressing a student's cultural needs. Students do not enter the classroom with a blank slate. They enter the classroom with diverse experiences. Teachers should encourage students to draw on their prior knowledge in order to contribute to group discussions, which provides an anchor in learning. In addition, this strategy reduces the achievement gap between students by considering students' perceptions of classrooms that vary in the amount of culturally relative practices. What that means is not all students come from the same background. It's important to encourage those who don't have a voice. It is important to find ways to activate experiences that they do have and encourage them to share those with others. Consideration of students' backgrounds increases community participation by providing supports and a safe environment to express those differences. Not all students want to learn from all teachers because the teachers may not make them feel like they have value. Teachers need to work on building relationships with their students to ensure they feel respected, valued, and seen for who they are. Building those relationships help them build community within the classroom and with each other, which is extremely important. Culturally responsive pedagogy allows educators to address social barriers that cause disparities in student achievement. By tailoring instruction to be mindful of these barriers, educators can help students overcome obstacles and succeed. A multicultural atmosphere will encourage students to recognize differences and similarities amongst all people. It's important to impart that we all are equal, but we are all very unique. Schools that succeed in engaging families from very diverse backgrounds, focusing on building trusting, collaborative relationship among teachers, families, and community members have a strong sense of family in a school. They recognize, respect, and address families' needs, including class and cultural differences, and embrace a philosophy of partnership where power and responsibility are shared. Family members' prior experiences with schools also have a significant impact on how willing they are to trust school staff members and become involved in their children's schooling. These negative experiences may make it difficult for family members to open up about what they need. Family members whose own experiences were negative may not feel comfortable entering the school building or may not trust the teachers with the values of their input. Letting families know that they are welcome in the school building, greeting them when they arrive, and posting signs in their native language are just a few ways to communicate to parents that they are valued members of the school community. Parents and other family members are more likely to trust the school that values their involvement when they see people putting forth an effort to show them that they care. Although most of us have a general understanding of terms like trust, culture, and family involvement, articulating precisely what that means can be difficult when addressing different cultures. If families are to trust teachers and other school staff members, they must believe that the school personnel are qualified, fair, and dependable and have their child's best interests at heart. Here are some simple strategies that one can implement in their classroom community. One example is highlighting how the topic you're teaching may be relevant or applied to your students. Establishing inclusion also involves regularly grouping students with different classmates, encouraging discussion to solve those problems, and encouraging to share their unique and different experiences. In doing so, they can share unique perspectives which increase cultural exchange among students. Another example is adapting your teaching style. This is fostered by taking the time to learn your students. Open communication and understanding in your classroom should reveal learning needs and preferences. This can be done in a form of surveys, interviewing students, or having open discussions about prior experiences in past classrooms. In any subject, you can grab and keep your students' attention by using their vocabulary to build understanding before moving to academic diction. This type of culturally responsive language should open the door to presenting challenging skills and concepts, engaging students while doing so. Some important things are to remember. Finding out your students' interests is a great way to build relationships and can also help guide your instruction. All students bring funds of knowledge to the classroom. That includes their own background knowledge, experiences, and skills needed to navigate their daily learning. Relationships established in trust and respect, which are crucial ingredients for learning, make certain that classrooms exhibit a multicultural vision by offering messages of affirmation and offering opportunities to express what is happening in their daily lives while building long-lasting relationships amongst teachers and families. Raising expectations is an important part of increasing academic achievement. As you get a better sense of who your students are and your students' life experiences, look for ways to connect them to the curriculum. Look for ways to increase relevance in your curriculum to address the demographic of your classroom environment. Assume that the students' cultural differences are a strength. Students of different cultural backgrounds have much to learn and share with their instructor and peers, which will further enhance their academic experience and encourage others to do the same. Culturally responsive pedagogy is a chance to reflect on your personal perspective. You can use this lens to learn about the broader forces that shape the lives of students as well as your own. The strategy requires a shift in mindset that will not happen overnight. It entails a willingness to learn, to be vulnerable, and to be flexible with the instructions and reflect. The path to culturally responsive pedagogy is a journey, but with practice and patience, it will benefit you and all your students. One of our IPP demonstration sites is Robert Lentz Earning Learning Center in Selah, Washington. At Robert Lentz, culturally responsive pedagogy is the foundation of all teaching activities, decision making, and family community partnerships. They utilize this strategy as a way to navigate the support of their diverse community and a means to support individual and cultural strengths and ensure that those differences are acknowledged and celebrated. The vision at Robert Lentz is called the Viking Promise. Their goal is to meet the needs of the whole child by creating an equity centered, engaging, and personalized learning environment in an emotional and physically safe environment for each child in their community. Robert Lentz has experienced firsthand that when students are supported in a way that is intentional and it promotes the individuality of the student, that they are able to create a student-centered environment that fosters acceptance, membership, and belonging. One example of Robert Lentz's journey to be more inclusive and address the culture of their scholastic environment, Robert Lentz Early Learning Center included their dual learning inclusion preschool program. In this program, Spanish-speaking students have the opportunity to learn 80% of their day in Spanish and 20% of their day in English. This allows students to learn the provided curriculum in their primary language versus struggling to adjust to an all English style of teaching. It also deepens the knowledge of essential foundational skills and provides students with a fair running start academically. Not only does this program validate and honor differences, it helps foster a culture of inclusivity throughout the school. For all students, the program fosters a positive interdependence and the growth of socio-cultural competencies, which allow students to honor and respect differences and to celebrate one another's strengths. To provide parents with a voice in the program, supports and school activities that encompass learning, Robert Lentz created the Migrant Parents Advisory Council with the emphasis on equitable opportunities for students and strengthening preschool to kindergarten transitions. Robert Lentz focused on intentional collaborational conversations with parents as well as data-driven conversations to ensure that students were receiving the supports they required and that their individual needs were met. The belief that every student is worthy and capable of making meaningful contributions to the community, and the belief that together with students, parents, and the community, a culture of lifelong learning for all will be cultivated is the foundation of Robert Lentz's mission and vision. The key takeaways of culturally responsive pedagogy is that with this strategy, we are encouraging students to amplify and share their cultural differences. The goal is to affirm these differences and make connections in their learning to keep them engaged and confident in who they are. Delivering modified instruction that correlates with everyday lives of all students shows a general respect for cultural individuality and creates a culture of caring and positive regard in our schools. Having high expectations for all students reinforces their academic development. By encouraging students with a genuine respect for cultural ways of knowing, we influence their confidence and increase their independence in their academic journey. Creating a meaningful and accessible instructional approach builds both modalities and classroom practices so that all students benefit from learning bicultural skills. In addition, demonstrating a profound appreciation for the uniqueness and giftedness of each of our students. I hope this overview has given you a better understanding of the impact and importance of culturally responsive pedagogy and the ways that it can enhance a learning community for instructors and families. Thank you for watching and listening to this IPP demonstration site's inclusionary practice spotlight on culturally responsive pedagogy. Please check out our tip sheets on, on culturally responsive pedagogy and take advantage of our resources listed here. Again, I am Monique Worthy, and you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.